The slap echoed through Terminal 4 at LAX like a gunshot. 200 people stopped mid-step. Phones came up. Conversations died. And my sister Paige stood there, hands still raised, looking at me like I was the one who'd just committed a crime. My parents rushed over. I thought they were coming to help me. I was wrong. "What did you do to her, Eden?" my dad demanded. Not "Are you okay?" Not "What happened?" Just automatic blame. Aimed at me. Like always. Paige buried her face in my mom's shoulder, her voice trembling on cue. "She's been ruining everything all week. I can't take it anymore." The lie came out so smooth, so practiced. And my parents ate it up without question. Standing there with my cheek burning and strangers recording the whole thing, I realized something. They had no idea I'd paid for this entire trip. Every flight. Every hotel room. Every rental car and luau ticket and snorkeling excursion. Paige had announced at dinner 5 weeks ago that she was treating everyone to Hawaii, and my parents had praised her like she'd won the lottery. I'd kept quiet. Because that's what I do. That's what I've always done. But in that moment, with my face still stinging and my mother glaring at me over Paige's shoulder, something inside me finally broke. Not with anger. Not with tears. With clarity. And what I did next left every single one of them speechless. My name is Eden Reed, and I'm 28 years old. For most of my life, people have called me the responsible one. The dependable daughter. The sister who holds everything together. I work in marketing analytics, the kind of job where you spend more time with spreadsheets than people, and it pays well enough that when my family needs something, I can usually cover it. I've been covering things for a long time. Paige is 26, and she's always been the spark in our family. Emotional, dramatic, the kind of person who lights up a room. My parents found it charming. When she cried, they comforted her. When she messed up, they forgave her. When she needed something, they turned to me to fix it. I told myself it was love, that this is what family does. You show up. You help. You don't keep score. But somewhere along the way, I stopped being a person to them. I became a resource. Someone who existed to make their lives easier while they forgot to see me at all. The Hawaii trip was supposed to be different. A chance to relax together, to reconnect as a family outside our usual patterns. When Paige brought it up at dinner, standing there with a champagne glass like she was making a toast, I actually felt hopeful. "I'm treating everyone to Hawaii," she'd announced. "All expenses paid. We leave in June." My mom gasped. My dad told her how proud he was. Paige beamed under their praise. Then she looked directly at me and mouthed, "Thank you." Just like that. A private joke. An acknowledgement that she knew I was footing the bill, and she was taking credit anyway. I'd laughed it off, because that's what I always did. But that night, driving home alone from that dinner, something felt off. I gripped the steering wheel tighter than I needed to, my knuckles white under the streetlights. I kept replaying Paige's smirk. That little thank you she'd mouthed across the table while our parents showered her with praise. It wasn't the first time. Not even close. When Paige barely graduated high school, she wanted a big celebration like everyone else. Our parents didn't have the money, so I quietly paid for everything. $2,000 for the cake, decorations, backyard tent. Paige made a whole speech thanking Mom and Dad for everything they did. Everyone applauded. Mom cried. Dad hugged her tight. I stood by the grill holding a tray of burgers, smiling like it didn't matter. 2 years later, Paige got approved for a cute apartment near downtown because I co-signed the lease. She walked through those empty rooms twirling her keys, posting on Instagram about being finally independent. She never mentioned that the only reason her application went through was because my credit score carried her. Then there was the engagement. For chaotic months with a guy who loved her drama until he didn't. She called me crying about the ring she wanted but couldn't afford. I lent her $5,000. She bought it, posted it online with a Bible quote, and when the relationship fell apart 3 months later, she kept the ring. Never paid me back. Never even brought it up. And the gifts. Every birthday, every Christmas, every Mother's Day and Father's Day, I bought presents from both of us because Paige claimed she was broke or overwhelmed or too busy. For years, my mom believed Paige was better at picking gifts than I was. Paige always knows exactly what I want, she'd say, holding up the cashmere scarf or the fancy candle set I'd spend an hour choosing. I'd smile and say nothing. That's what I did. I smiled and said nothing while my sister built a life on my money and my silence. I spent 5 weeks planning the Hawaii trip. Premium seats because my dad's back hurts. 2 adjoining ocean view rooms because Paige needed her space. A rental SUV. Snorkeling tours. Dinner reservations at places that required deposits. My credit card. My time. My effort. And not once did my parents ask who was actually paying. They just assumed Paige had finally gotten her life together. The morning we left for the airport, I was actually excited. I kept thinking maybe this trip would soften things between us. Maybe we'd finally feel like a real family. I was standing in the terminal, coffee in hand, checking our boarding time when Paige walked up to me. "You need to stop being so uptight," she said out of nowhere. "You're already ruining this trip with your attitude." I blinked. "What are you talking about? I haven't said anything." "Exactly. You've been cold all morning. Everyone can feel it." I hadn't been cold. I'd been quiet, sure, but I was tired. I'd stayed up late the night before finishing the packing list she'd completely ignored, making sure we had everything we needed because I knew if something was forgotten, it would somehow be my fault. "Paige, I'm fine. You're just making everything about you like always," she snapped. Her voice was rising now. People were starting to look. "God, Eden, can you ever just let other people be happy?" The accusation hit me like a punch. Making everything about me? I'd spent the last 5 weeks making everything about them. About her. "Paige, let's not do this here." And that's when she hit me. Her hand cracked across my face so hard my vision blurred. The sound cut through the noise of the terminal like a knife. Everything stopped. I stood there, frozen, my cheek throbbing. My coffee had spilled across the floor. My phone clattered down, the screen cracking against the tile. Paige stepped back, her hand over her mouth, eyes wide like she was the victim. My parents appeared from nowhere. I thought they were coming to check on me. I actually thought, for half a second, that this would be the moment they finally saw what was happening. "What did you do to her, Eden?" my dad barked. My chest tightened. My mom pulled Paige into a hug without even glancing at my face. "Why can't you just let your sister enjoy herself?" I couldn't breathe. Couldn't speak. I just stood there while Paige sobbed into my mother's shoulder and my father glared at me like I was the problem. Like I was the one who'd caused a scene. Like I was the one who needed to be controlled. "Apologize," my dad said, his voice low and stern. "Do it properly." My face was still burning. My hands were shaking. A woman nearby was filming us on her phone. A TSA officer was watching from a distance, trying to decide if he needed to intervene. But what hurt more than the slap, more than the humiliation, more than the stranger staring, was the realization that nothing had changed. Nothing would ever change. 28 years of this. Of being invisible. Of being used. Of being the one who held everything together while everyone else fell apart. And I was done. "I need a minute," I said quietly. "Fine," my dad muttered. "But don't wander off. Boarding is soon." Paige sniffed dramatically. "Just keep her away from me. Keep me away." Like I was dangerous. Like I was the threat. I walked toward the restrooms, not fast, not dramatic. Just slow and steady, like someone trying to hold herself together with duct tape and willpower. I found a quiet corner near the vending machines and leaned against the cold tile wall. My hands were trembling. My cheek burned. A teenager walking by gave me a sympathetic look and I had to turn away before I started crying. But my mind was crystal clear. I pulled out my phone. The screen was cracked from where it hit the ground, but it still worked. I opened my email. The flight confirmation was right there. My name. My credit card. my reservation code, then the hotel, the rental car, the tours. Every single piece of this trip was in my name, paid with my money, organized with my time. And just like that, I knew what I had to do. Not out of spite. Not out of revenge. Out of self-preservation. I opened the airline app and pulled up our reservation. 4 seats. 4 names. 1 payer. My heart was pounding, but not from panic. From control. From the sudden, overwhelming realization that I actually had power here. That I'd always had it. I just never used it. I called the airline. "Thank you for calling. How can I help you today?" a calm voice answered. "I need to make a change to a reservation," I said. No anger. No shouting. Just a simple choice. A boundary I should have drawn years ago. The agent put me on hold. Soft instrumental music played through my earbuds. I glanced across the terminal at my family. They were sitting together now, unified again, laughing like nothing had happened. Paige was checking her phone, probably fixing her makeup for the vacation photos she'd post later. My parents looked relieved that their problem child had walked away. They had no idea what was coming. "All right," the agent came back. "I have your reservation pulled up. For passengers to Honolulu, departing this afternoon. How can I help?" I took a breath. My voice didn't shake. "I'd like to cancel 3 of the tickets. Keep only the one under Eden Reed." There was a pause. 3 tickets? Yes. Understood. There will be cancellation fees, but since you're the original purchaser, the travel credit will return to your account. May I ask the reason for the cancellation? "Change of plans," I said simply. "Of course. Give me just one moment." A few clicks on her end. Just like that. 28 years of being taken for granted, erased in seconds. The confirmation hit my inbox. 3 names gone. Paige Reed. Michael Reed. Patricia Reed. Cancelled. I stared at my phone for a long moment. I wasn't angry. I wasn't even sad. I was free. Next came the hotel. I called the resort in Maui and a cheerful woman with an island accent answered. "Aloha! How may I assist you today, Ms. Reed?" "I need to modify my reservation. Change it from 2 rooms to 1. Just me." "Of course. Let me pull that up. Oh, I see you had 2 beautiful ocean view rooms booked. Are you sure you'd like to downgrade?" "I'm not downgrading," I said. "I'm simplifying." She made the changes. Offered me a refund for the difference. Told me she hoped I'd enjoy my stay in paradise. Then the rental car. Downgraded from the roomy SUV my dad had insisted on to a compact convertible. A solo vacation car. The kind you blast music in with the top down and don't have to justify your radio choices to anyone. Every call made me lighter. Every refund felt like a piece of myself coming back. Like I was shedding weight I'd been carrying for so long I'd forgotten it wasn't supposed to be mine. By the time I finished, I didn't feel like the girl who'd been slapped in an airport. I felt like someone I hadn't seen in years. Eden Reed. The woman in control of her own life. I took a deep breath, squared my shoulders, and walked back toward gate 76. My family still hadn't noticed me. Paige was laughing at something on her phone. My mom was digging through her oversized purse, probably looking for gum or hand sanitizer. My dad was reading news on his tablet, already mentally on vacation. They looked so relaxed. So unbothered. Like slapping their daughter in public and blaming her for it was just another Tuesday. I stepped into their line of vision. "I'm heading to my gate now," I said calmly. My mom looked up, confused. "What?" "This is your gate, honey." "Not anymore." Paige's eyes narrowed. "What are you talking about?" I looked right at her. "You're not going to Hawaii." Paige laughed. Sharp. Disbelieving. The kind of laugh she used when she thought someone was being ridiculous. "What are you talking about, Eden?" "Stop being dramatic." I held up my phone, turning the cracked screen toward them. "I canceled your tickets. All 3 of them." The silence was immediate. Total. Like someone had sucked all the air out of the terminal. My dad stood up slowly. You what? Paige grabbed my phone right out of my hand, reading the cancellation confirmation like it was written in a foreign language. Her eyes scanned the screen once, twice, 3 times. No. No, no, no. This isn't. Why would you do this? I booked this trip. You didn't, I said quietly. I did. Every part of it. My mom stood too, her voice shaking. Eden, this isn't funny. It's not a joke. Check with the airline if you don't believe me. My dad pulled out his phone immediately, his fingers moving fast across the screen. He dialed the airline, his jaw tight. Paige hovered next to him, shaking her head, muttering under her breath. She's lying. She's lying. She's just trying to ruin this for everyone. The airline agent answered on speaker. My dad gave them the confirmation code, his voice clipped and authoritative. The voice he used when he expected people to fix things for him immediately. I'm showing only 1 passenger on this reservation, the agent said politely. Eden Reed. The other 3 tickets were canceled approximately 15 minutes ago. Paige's face went pale. Actually pale. The color drained right out of her cheeks. My dad lowered his phone slowly, staring at me like I'd just told him I'd committed murder. How could you do this? I looked at him. Really looked at him. At the disappointment in his eyes that was always there when he looked at me. The frustration. The expectation that I would always fall in line. How could you? I asked back, my voice steady. How many times have you watched her lie and blamed me? How many times have you praised her for things I paid for? How many times have you told me to stay quiet, to keep the peace, to stop making waves? We didn't mean, my mom started, her voice breaking. Yes, you did, I said. You believed her without question. You didn't even look at my face after she hit me. You just took her side. Because that's what you always do. Paige's voice cracked. The performance was slipping. Real panic was setting in. Eden, please. I didn't mean, I'm sorry, okay? I'm sorry. I was just stressed. I wasn't thinking. You meant every part of it, I said. And I mean this. I pulled up my email and showed them the hotel refund, the rental car modification, the canceled snorkeling tour, the canceled Luau reservation, the canceled dinner at that fancy restaurant Paige had been talking about for weeks. Every piece of their trip dissolving one confirmation at a time. My dad's face went red. Actually red. You think this makes you the hero? You think this is mature? No, I said. It makes me free. My mom reached for my arm, tears starting to stream down her face. We can fix this. Please, Eden. Please don't leave us here. We don't have money for new tickets. You know we don't. I met her eyes. I didn't pull away from her touch, but I didn't soften either. I know. That's why I paid in the first place. Paige grabbed my wrist, her nails digging in. I'm sorry, Eden. I really am. I shouldn't have slapped you. I've been under so much pressure and I took it out on you and I'm sorry. I gently pulled away. You're 26, Paige. When do you start thinking? When do you start taking responsibility for what you do? There was no cruelty in my voice. No satisfaction. Just truth. Truth she'd avoided for years. The boarding announcement chimed overhead. Now boarding Group A for Flight 447 to Honolulu. My group. My dad stepped directly in front of me, blocking my path. If you walk through that gate, don't expect to come back. Do you understand me? You do this, and we're done. I looked at him. Really looked. At the man who'd raised me to be responsible but never taught Paige the same lesson. At the father who'd praised my sister's independence while relying on my dependability. At the parent who loved me, I think, but never actually saw me. I'm not the one who left, I said softly. You did. A long time ago. I stepped around him. He didn't follow. Neither did my mom. Neither did Paige. No one stopped me. The gate agent scanned my ticket and gave me a sympathetic look. She'd probably seen the whole thing from her desk. "Rough day?" she asked quietly. I smiled faintly. "Getting better." Walking down the jet bridge, I felt the weight lift with every step. My shoulders relaxed. My breathing evened out. The tightness in my chest loosened. When I reached my seat, premium window, extra legroom, the one I'd booked for my dad originally, the sun was slanting through the glass in golden stripes. I sat down, buckled my seatbelt, closed my eyes. As the plane pushed back from the gate, I glanced out the window one last time. Through the terminal glass, I could see them. Paige pacing back and forth, her phone pressed to her ear. My mom crying into her hands. My dad arguing with a gate agent, his arms gesturing wildly, like he could force reality to bend to his will if he just argued loudly enough. They looked lost. Like actors who'd forgotten their lines when the script changed. And then we were moving. Taxiing toward the runway. Away from them. Away from all of it. For the first time in 28 years, I was choosing myself. Hawaii was different from the moment I arrived. The air was warm and sweet, carrying the smell of plumeria and salt water. I stood on the balcony of my room, not rooms, just mine, and looked out at the ocean stretching endlessly under a sky so blue it almost hurt. I let the breeze hit my face. The same cheek Paige had slapped hours earlier. And it didn't hurt anymore. I spent the next week doing exactly what I wanted. I went snorkeling alone, floating above coral reefs in complete silence. I hiked to waterfalls and sat on rocks and didn't have to check if anyone else was tired or hungry or ready to leave. I ate dinner at the restaurants I wanted to try, not the ones Paige had picked. And I didn't apologize once. My phone buzzed constantly. Calls from my parents. Texts from Paige ranging from angry to apologetic to manipulative. Voicemails from my mom crying, from my dad demanding I fix the situation, from Paige saying she changed and she understood now and please just call back. I silenced all of it. On the flight home, I finally opened the letter my parents had sent to my apartment. It must have been overnight because it arrived while I was still gone. They admitted everything. The favoritism. The blind spots. The years of taking me for granted. They said they understood if I needed space. They said they wanted to do better. They apologized. And it sounded honest. I folded the letter gently and put it in a drawer when I got home. I wasn't ready to respond. Maybe I would be someday. Maybe I wouldn't. But for the first time, the choice was entirely mine. I've learned something important in the months since that day at LAX. Peace doesn't come from keeping quiet. It comes from finally choosing yourself. It comes from drawing the lines you should have drawn years ago and not feeling guilty about it. My family may or may not change. I don't know yet, and honestly, I'm okay with not knowing. But I'm no longer carrying the weight of their choices. I'm no longer sacrificing myself to keep them comfortable. I'm no longer the girl who smiles and says nothing while everyone else takes credit for her life. Setting that boundary wasn't cruel. It was survival. And for the first time in 28 years, I'm not sorry for it. Thanks for listening, and if you liked this story, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Don't forget to comment and subscribe for more stories about finding your voice when family tries to take it away. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is choose yourself.